Yeah. Islam, if this weekend you win this fight, where does this rank in all of the things that you've done in your career? And are you aware of the record that Anderson Silva, Kamaru Usman got very close. He got to 15, and then he got beat. You're at 16 tied Anderson. You win this fight, you go 17 in a row in the UFC.
17.
That's never been done. Where does
20.
that rank?
20.
You want to get to 20?
Yeah, 20. And I'm gonna be like, sure, no one gonna beat this record.
So you want to try to set a record that no one can touch?
Yes.
You get to 20 wins in a row in the UFC. That's a crazy number.
Big number. Yeah. That's why I want. Now it's Mosar, 10. But this guy, I know, bro, he can beat.
Mosar is very tough.
He can beat 16, 17, but 20 it's gonna be hard for him also.
Yeah.
What's up, folks? The Mac here to give you my prediction for the Makhachev Garry fight. Let's go, Garry. You know it. He has the tools. He's been doing great work in SBG. He's long. He's definitely going to stay safe. He's definitely going to be in there. Makhachev has pockets where there's a lot of stalling. He still has things to prove in that welterweight division. He does look like he's had to grown up into it a bit more. It's a cracking contest. Of course I'm going with Ian Garry. And I really believe he can do it. For sure he can do it. How do I see it? Right high kick across the crown of the head. And a victory for the Irish Brazilian. Let's go, Ian. Rooting for you, bro. Great scrap, yeah? What round? Late round. This goes late, folks. This goes late, this fight. Great fight. Looking very much forward to it. And there you go, folks. Enjoy. The Mac Daddy in recovery. Undeterred. Let's go. Come on! Yeah.
This has been a big topic this week, Dana, with Islam and his legacy, and he's already tied with Anderson for 16 straight UFC wins. Incredible. He wins. He sets the record. I mean, is he already in? I know you've been asked this a bunch of times. Is he already in that conversation the way you see it as far as the greatest of all time in your organization?
Me and my friends were just talking about it right now. If he doesn't have that one loss, probably consider him the GOAT right now.
It won't be a rock'em sock'em bloody. It's not going to be Roy McDonald versus Robbie Lawler. It's not going to be that fight. It's going to be a very, very high technical fight. So boys, who do I have winning against Ian Garry versus Islam Makhachev? I'm going to go with Islam Makhachev. I think Islam Makhachev can win the fight anywhere. Now, do we think Islam Makhachev is going to win by decision or a finish? Islam said he's going to get it done. Islam said he's going to get it done within 3 rounds. And, you know, it just all depends how Islam approaches the fight and how Ian Garry approaches the fight. If Ian Garry is running a lot and Islam's having a hard time catching him, it's probably going to go to a decision. But if Islam Makhachev is able to get his hands on Ian Garry, get him to the ground, and start to pass his guard, then he'll finish him. It all depends how the reaction is going to be when the two clash. And that's will dictate if it's going to be finish or...
Islam Makhachev and Ian Machado Garry have no shortage of confidence heading into their massive welterweight title fight. While Islam believes his wrestling will expose Garry's weaknesses on the ground, Garry insists he has the skills, size, and preparation to stop the champion's game. Both men have made it clear they are not backing down, and their pre-fight comments have only added more fuel to an already heated matchup. With the fight getting closer, the trash talk is reaching another level.
I think the first and most important thing to discuss is the grappling of Islam Makhachev and Ian Garry. And I honestly just have to say this. There is a huge grappling advantage here for Islam Makhachev. Ian Garry, when he's standing up and in the clinch, I think this may be the best area for Ian Garry. I think on the feet, if Islam Makhachev tries to get a body lock, if he tries to clinch up with Ian Garry or you know, whatever, if they end up against the cage standing, I think Ian Garry wins those battles. I think he wins those positions. He's too tall. He's very flexible. He cannot be off balance. We saw that against Shavkat Rakhmonov. He might be attempting takedowns from standing against Islam, which we saw Volkanovski do a decent job of as well. I think the clinch is a red zone for Islam Makhachev against Ian Garry. I can definitely see Ian Garry outworking Islam in the clinch and in upper body positions, landing short knees, landing little elbows, similar to what Charles was able to do in little moments here, looking for trips of his own. But I don't think this is enough to win the fight. Everything I think Ian Garry is good at, I'm like, yeah, he will do okay in this fight, but not enough to win.
He has fought wrestlers, and he's beaten a couple of them. And then he flipped the script, and he used his own wrestling. Ian Garry's good. He's well-rounded. Ian Garry could absolutely win this fight. Now, again, I am picking Islam Makhachev. I think he wins. Fairly confident. Right? On a low, medium, high scale, medium. because I think Islam is just that dominant in the grappling. Just not worried about him getting the takedowns, and if he is on top, what's going to happen? So I'm confident in Islam here. But I fully recognize Ian Garry is probably one of the worst matchups for him. He's crazy long. He's training his ass off. He's smart. And if we have these progressive judges that don't give a shit about control time, things could get weird. The Islam's the pick, but you're not going to see him in the safety parlay, and I'm a little bit worried about Betsam's 5 units.
Ian Machado Garry has made it quite evident that the mindset with which he will enter the ring against Islam Makhachev is all about getting himself crowned the champion. According to Garry, this camp was never just about beating Islam, but rather about making himself the best version of himself so that when he won the title, he could deal with whatever Islam throws at him once he got the title. Also, according to Garry, he has been keeping himself off social media and distractions so that he could be fully focused on the most important fight of his life.
But I am so, and I have been so focused on this fight, my friend. I have been the most professional I've ever been. I have been absolutely locked in, because this camp for me hasn't been about trying to beat Islam Makhachev and beat the champion. It's about Ian Machado Garry becoming the champion of the world. So this fight camp has been me being the best version of me, because when I win this title, when I beat Islam and that belt is wrapped around my waist, I'm the guy everybody's coming for.
Yeah.
And I need to be at the highest level.
Well, I was going to ask you, do you look at this fight as not only a chance to win a championship, but also to change that narrative? Because like you said, once you got a belt around your waist, that's really what matters. That's what guys are gunning for. All this other stuff about what you say or didn't say in interviews and anything else that anybody has to say, like, it does just naturally, I think, kind of direct the attention towards competition itself when you're the guy holding the belt. Do you kind of
I don't think that's ever going to change around my persona. It's all fake.
Furthermore, Garry gave some reasons for his high level of confidence in handling Islam's wrestling. The fighter said his first time in an MMA gym was one when he was put in the ground by his partner in training, and this is what led him to choose his future path. In future, he would focus on countering takedowns to make sure the opponents could not generate momentum or get any chances to hurt him in between attempts. Garry cited his fights with Shavkat Rakhmonov and Belal Muhammad as examples of how far he has come, noting that he countered 15 of 17 takedowns in these fights.
The first day I ever walked into an MMA gym, I went in confident about my stand-up, confident about my boxing and my hands, having that been my first introduction and first love in martial arts. When I went into literally my first MMA sparring class, I've actually got a friend of mine here with me on Fight Week. He's the guy I'm going to speak about, but Callum Liston, a friend of mine, he took me down and manhandled me because his game was wrestling. And from that moment on, all I have ever done is focus on people stopping me, stopping people's takedowns, not allowing them to have that success, not allowing them to get their momentum flowing, and irritate and frustrate and punch them in between and find every way possible to prevent them from having success and allow me to.
Garry finished by making it clear how much the moment meant to him. He explained that he wanted to be fully present on the night of the fight, since he wanted to be able to remember what it felt like to become a world champion for the rest of his life. He was always confident and talked about his upcoming victory as if it was something he had worked hard for ever since the start of his career. After that, he explained that the first thing he wanted to do was hug his wife and son and share this special moment with them.
We take massive risks. The fighting's the easy part. Fighting's where we get to go in and we get to put all that hard work, all that dedication and discipline and sacrifice on display. I don't think about that. I just go in there and I fight and I have fun. And that's what I'm going to go in here on Saturday night, August 15th in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. I want to go in there and be so present because I want to remember this moment for the rest of my life. The night I became champion of the world.
And how will you celebrate it? Saturday night, when you're done with the media, how will you celebrate being the champion of the world?
I'm gonna grab my wife, I'm gonna grab my son, and I'm gonna give them the most cuddles and kisses I possibly can, because nothing else in the world matters to me. I cannot wait to see their faces when I have that belt wrapped around my waist and my hand is raised. All I want to do is be present with them.
Islam Makhachev approaches this matchup with Garry in much more of an aggressive frame of mind than he did in his last fight in the welterweight division. Makhachev said that his training camp for the first time as a 170-pounder was tough because he needed to concentrate largely on putting on weight, while now he feels very relaxed fighting at his natural welterweight weight. Regarding his fight with Jack Della Maddalena, Makhachev revealed that he was primarily concerned about getting the rounds in the second belt and not on finishing. Islam also believes Garry's biggest weakness will become obvious once the fight hits the ground. He acknowledged that Garry has dangerous striking, along with long arms and excellent reach, but said he saw weaknesses in Garry's ground game.
Defending the belt in 2 divisions, there's a lot at stake here. Why is this different, where you maybe will take more risks or chase the finish more?
Yeah, sure. This fight I will take more risk to finish my opponents, because I like it. Finish my opponents, you know. And this fight, I think, honestly, from the first time when I'm taking him down, I have chance to finish him, because I saw his ground game. It's not so good, you know. He have good strikings, long reach, you know, long arm. He control the distance, always go back. But I see when I take him down, it's gonna be finish.
When asked about Garry's pre-fight comments, Islam was also highly dismissive of the Irishman. He criticized Garry's interviews and suggested that he should spend more time training and less time talking. Islam believes Garry is trying to play the role of the bad guy during fight week, but he does not seem particularly bothered by it. Instead, he expects Garry's confidence and trash talk to disappear once the fight begins, pointing out that many fighters make bold claims before facing him, only to abandon those plans once they are inside the octagon.
Yeah, he seems to really respect you and your greatness and everything that you've done, but he also says, you know, he wants to beat you in your own world on the ground, and he's gonna bounce your head off the canvas and stop history from happening. What do you make of this?
Bro, I saw his couple interview. Honestly, he looks very bad in this interview. Better for him training more and do less interview, you know. It's look like somebody in the house control him and tell him what to say in the interview, you know. He look very bad in the interview, honestly.
Yeah. Do you think when fight week comes at the press conference, things like that, is he gonna try to get under your skin?
Man, he tried to, in the fight week, he always tried to be like bad guy, you know, but he act like he bad guy.
Right. Yeah. It seems it's interesting to know. I'm curious how he's going to approach this, because he says he wants to beat you in your own world on the ground, but he also says he wants to show he's the best striker in this division. So which one is it?
Man, everybody know his ground game, you know. Everybody talking, you know. Everybody say, I'm gonna knock him out, Islam. I'm gonna do some beat Islam. But when fight's beginning, they all forgot what they say.
Jed Meshew's biggest concern for Garry is that he may not be dynamic enough to consistently beat Islam. He explained that fighters need more than just tactical awareness against Makhachev, because Islam is so good at forcing opponents into his preferred positions. Meshew could see Garry winning individual exchanges and even stopping Islam's sequences against the fence by anticipating his movement. But the bigger question, in his view, is how Garry turns those small victories into an actual win. Meshew believes Garry could win plenty of battles without doing enough damage or creating enough separation to win the overall fight. Because of that, Meshew believes Garry could make Islam look less dominant without actually defeating him. He compared the situation to Garry's fight with Shavkat Rakhmonov, where Garry made one of his opponent's performances look far less impressive but still walked away with a loss. Meshew thinks a similar scenario could happen here. Garry might stop several takedowns, force Islam into uncomfortable striking exchanges, and prevent him from dominating, but Meshew still expects Islam to find a way to win. In his view, the most likely outcome is Garry making Islam work hard without finding enough offense to take the fight. Luke Thomas was clearly leaning toward Islam Makhachev, saying that it was very difficult to pick against him because he is the pound-for-pound #1 fighter in the sport. However, Thomas did not see Ian Machado Garry as an easy opponent. He pointed out that elite champions can sometimes struggle when they face a hungry #1 contender who has earned his shot and has everything to prove. In Thomas's view, Garry fits that exact description. He is coming into the fight with confidence, motivation, and a style that could create problems for Islam. Thomas ultimately expected Islam to win, but he believed Garry was a very real threat. Thomas continued by explaining why he thought this could be a much more difficult fight than people expected. He said Garry was a live dog and that it would be extremely impressive if Islam simply went in there and made him look like nothing. Thomas was not expecting that kind of one-sided performance because of Garry's defensive ability. He believed Garry could force Islam to solve several problems throughout the fight, especially because fighters on the rise can sometimes give established champions unexpected difficulty. For Thomas, that made this matchup far more interesting than a simple champion versus challenger fight. This was what some of the top people in MMA had to say regarding the upcoming fight between Islam Makhachev and Ian Machado Garry. Though many believe that Makhachev will retain his belt, others feel that Garry is capable of shocking the MMA community by pulling off an upset win. With a combination of Islam's superior wrestling skills and championship experience matched against Garry's physical stature, mobility, and fight IQ, this has become one of the fights of the year. The more it gets towards fight day, the more diverse these opinions are becoming, and this just serves to create more hype about this upcoming title fight. There is no doubt in my mind that these two men definitely have something to prove, and that when the doors to that cage open, there is not going to be any mercy shown by either of them. But what are your thoughts on the matter? Will Islam Makhachev remain unbeaten, or will Ian Machado Garry take the title?